So you want to buy a new home and sell your current home at the same time with no stress? All right, we can do that. Welcome to the channel. So I have helped many families in the Killeen, Fort Cavazos area sell their current home and purchase a new home at the same time. So I know how stressful it can be and how much of a balancing act it can be. As a matter of fact, at the time of this recording, I'm working with some clients who came to me because they had recently terminated a contract for a home that they were buying while they were also selling their home. And the unique thing about this particular transaction was there were 3 families buying and selling a new home at the same time. And so one of those deals fell through and it pretty much toppled the whole thing for everybody else. They were really frustrated and basically left inside the home that they had already emotionally detached from and packed all of their things up from. And yeah, they were just really disappointed and ready to move and get their new house. So we worked together, got things done, and actually got them back in the same house that they wanted before. So eventually things worked out in their favor, but I want to make sure that you can avoid that stress in your transaction. All right, first things first, it's crucial to have a conversation with your mortgage lender and get a clear understanding of your financial picture, okay? So you want to know how much home you can afford, and you want to know if you actually even have to sell the current home that you are in to get the new home, because sometimes you can just buy a new home and then either sell the old one or rent it out later. But you want to get a clear picture of that. You also want to talk to a real estate professional and understand exactly where you are on the equity scale so you can know how much money you'll be netting when you close on the sale of your own house and how much of that money you might need in order to buy the new one. All of this is crucial, and make sure that you are incorporating closing costs, repairs and maintenance on both of the properties, moving expenses, taxes, all of that good stuff. Make sure that you're keeping all of that in mind when you're kind of creating this financial picture. That way we have no surprises down the road. So which comes first, the sale or the purchase? Well, in my opinion, you should already be preparing your current house for sale when you're just in the planning phase of buying a new one. I think the sale should come first because it's the most labor intensive and time intensive part of the whole transaction. It's also really important to know how much time it's expected to take for your house to sell. Now, if you work with a beast like me, we'll make sure your house sells as fast as possible, depending on your market. But you really want to have a clear idea of that and then reverse engineer the rest of the transactions to meet that time period. So a good option for a buy and sell combo is to get a spec home. And that is a home that a builder has pre-built without having a purchaser in line for it. Usually this offers a nice flexible time period and less competition. And so it ends up being a lot less stressful when you have to sell your house because you have already nailed down the house that you want and it's either already complete or like under construction. So you know that you have another 60, 90 or 45 days to get your house sold. That way you can kind of move at your own pace, and it also allows a little bit of extra time just in case something happens with your transaction. So getting a builder spec home is a really good option. Another one is to just buy some land and build one custom. This is an option for somebody who has a lot of time, 9 months to a year, because you want to actually find where you want to build, get that land, get the plans for your house, meet the builder that you want to work with and all that. It's a really long, involved process, but for some people, that's the benefit of it, because it's gonna take so long for either the new house to get built or all those plans to happen. You have so much extra time to prepare your home for sale and sit it on the market. And then if you're one of those that wants to just kind of test the market with a higher price, it's okay if it sits a little bit longer because you've timed it and you've left yourself tons and tons of time because you're building your other home. And that's gonna take a year, sometimes a year, 14 months. I've seen it take longer. The thing that you want to be careful of is build times can definitely fluctuate on custom builds. So make sure that you budget in enough time for you to have to be in an interim place, just in case you like sell your home in preparation for your new home to get built, but then it is not built at the time that you need to close on your other one. And that brings me to my other option here, and that is get a short-term rental. So we all know Airbnb, Vrbo, like those are things. And in a place like Killeen, Fort Hood, it's actually really, really easy to find a short-term rental. Now it's a little bit more expensive, but it allows you the comfort of selling your home, getting all those funds in hand, moving everything out, and then taking your time to go and shop for your next house. That's a more pricey option, but essentially you are just buying time so that you can leisurely look for another place. Another good option is to work out an extended closing period. Some people don't have to move into the house right away once they buy it. So you can put your house on the market, find a solid buyer and say, hey, I need an extra 60 days on this contract or something to that effect, so that you have time to go out and shop. I actually have some home sellers right now that are doing this very same thing. They found some buyers that are willing to do a 60-day closing date until they can finish getting all the financing wrapped up for their place. So it worked out. So getting an extended closing date is definitely an option. Remember, in these home sale contracts, everything is negotiable. Another good option is to explore less competitive areas and price point. That way, you know, you can get your house under contract and still have plenty of time to shop around and not have to hurry to lock in a house before somebody beats you to the punch. Like if you know you are shopping at a price point where not a lot of inventory moves, then the house that you kind of got your eye on before you put your house on the market, you can end up still getting the same house after you put your house on the market and get it sold. And that brings me to my last tip, and that is submitting a contingent offer. Now, these aren't the strongest from a negotiation standpoint, but it's essentially you finding a house first, submitting an offer, and then letting them know that, hey, I'm going to be selling my house in order to buy your house, just making that plain and upfront so you can give me the opportunity to sell mine while I lock in my commitment to your house. This is how most buy and sell transactions are done. It can get really sticky. Usually if it messes up for one party, then it messes up everything else. So try and not get into a situation where more than one party is buying based on a contingency, because it can leave everybody stressed out at the end of the day. But a contingency offer is a really good way to go ahead, lock in the house that you want, but you need to be ready to get your house on the market. A seller is more inclined to accept your offer if your house is either already on the market, or you can let them know, hey, I'm gonna put it on the market in the next 7 days after our option period, and I'm gonna price it slightly below market so that it sells quicker. So that's always a good thing to have in your pocket. Contingency deals happen all the time. I'm actually in one right now with some super patient sellers, and we are getting it done for them. All right, those are my tips. So you gotta know that real estate advice is a bespoke process. It has to be tailor fit to your situation. So if you would like some advice on how to best move forward with your situation, don't be afraid to drop me a comment or send me an email. I would love to hear about how I can best serve you and help you along the way with your adventure. Thanks for spending a little bit of time here with me today. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace.